phrase, or VP, is a crucial syntactic unit in the structure of a sentence. At its core, a verb phrase consists of a main verb, also known as lexical verb, and may include various additional elements such as object, complement, or modifier. For example, in the sentence, she is reading a book. The verb phrase is reading a book, where is reading is the core verb, and a book serves as the direct object. The importance of verb phrase. In sentence construction, verb phrase play a pivotal role in sentence construction, as they serve as the predicate of a clause. The predicate provides essential information about the subject and describes what action is being performed or what state is being expressed. Without verb phrase, sentences would lack clarity and coherence, making it challenging to convey meaning effectively. For instance, in the sentence, the dog barked loudly. Bark loudly is the verb phrase that tells us what the subject or the dog did. Component of a verb phrase. Core verb types. Verb phrases can be categorized based on their core components. The first is lexical verb or main verb. Lexical verbs are the primary verbs that convey the main action or state of being in a sentence. They can stand alone or being accompanied by other elements. For example, she runs every morning, and he is happy. The second is auxiliary verb or helping verbs and modals. Auxiliary verbs, also known as helping verbs, assist the main verb in expressing tense, mood, voice, or aspect. Modal verbs are a subset of auxiliary verbs that indicate possibility, necessity, or permission. Component option. Component option expand on the meaning of the verb and provide additional information about the action or state described by the verb phrase. They can include direct object. A direct object receives the action of the verb directly. It answers the question, what or who, after the verb. For example, he kicked the ball. What did he kick? The ball. The next is indirect object. An indirect object indicates to whom or for whom the action is performed. It typically comes before the direct object and answers a question like to whom or for whom. For example, she gave her friend a gift. To whom did she give a gift? To her friend. The next is predicative complement. Predicative complement provide additional information about the subject or object and typically follow linking verbs like be, seem, or becomes. They can be nouns, pronouns, or adjectives. For example, he is a teacher. What is he? A teacher. The soup tastes delicious. How does the soup taste? It's delicious.
What are lexical verbs? Lexical verbs are the main action verb in a sentence. They show what the subject is doing or experiencing. For example, he runs every morning. The word run is the lexical verb because it tells us what he does. Lexical verbs are the core of any sentence. Without them, there's no action, no event, and no complete idea. Lexical verbs are divided into 6 subcategories. There are. Let's go through in one step by step with simple examples. First, transitive verb. Transitive verbs are action verbs that need a direct object to complete their meaning. An easy way to think about it, after the verb, you should able to ask what or whom and get an answer. For example, she reads a book. What does she read? Books. They built a house. What did they build? A house. If there's no object, the sentence feels incomplete. If we write like just she reads, it will leave us asking, reads what? That's why the object is so important for transitive verb. Next, in contrast, we have intransitive verb. Intransitive verb do not need an object to make sense. For example, he sleeps, they laughed. The sentences are complete because it doesn't need anything extra. The verb focuses only what the subject is doing. Next, the transitive verb. The transitive verbs are special. They need two objects. Need an indirect object, which tell us who received something, and direct object, which tell us what is given or transferred. For example, she gave him a gift. Him is the indirect object, and a gift is the direct object. Other example, they sent their friend a letter. Can you identify it? Think of the transitive verb as a verb that show giving or transferring something from one person to another. And next, intensive verb. Intensive verb don't show action. Instead, they link the subject to something that describe or identify it. For example, she is happy. Is links she to happy, which describe her. They become doctors. In this case, become links they to doctors, which identify them. The word or phrase after the verb is called predicative. It tells us more about the subject. Now, we will talk about complex transitive verb. It needs two things, a direct object and an object predicative, which give more information about the object. For example, we painted the wall blue. The wall is the direct object, and blue is the object predicative. This verb describes an action and tells us something the result of that action. Last, we have prepositional verb combined with specific preposition and needs a prepositional phrase to make sense. For example, she glanced at the painting. The prepositional at connect the verb glanced to the prepositional phrase the painting. He worries about his exam. About connect the verb worry to the object his exam. The prepositional is crucial. Without it, the sentence would not make sense. Now, let's talk about auxiliary verb. Auxiliary verbs are helping verb. They combine with lexical verb to add information about tense, mood, and voice. They don't carry their main meaning themselves, but support the main verb. There are two types of auxiliary verb, primary and modal. Primary auxiliary are be, have, and do. They have form, different tenses, and voices. Be used for continuous tense and the passive voice. This the example of them. Have used for perfect tenses, and do is used in question, negation, and emphasis. Modal auxiliary. Modal auxiliary express a possibility, ability, necessity, or permission. That include can, could, will, shall, must, might, and other. Modal helps us to understand the importance of an action.
This part is about the tenses and time in the verb phrases, including the finite and non-finite verbs. First of all, you have to know what is finite and non-finite verbs. Finite verbs is the verbs that shows the tenses like past or present participle, and the non-finite verbs is the verbs that cannot stand alone and it is not the main verb. There are four ways to find or to identify the position of the tenses in a sentence, in a verb phrases. For example, the first one is tenses in main verb and auxiliary verbs. For the example of the sentence is they screamed loudly. Screamed is the main verb, which is shows the past tense. And the second, we have they are following him. They are following him. Are is the auxiliary and this is the main verb, and following is not the main verb. It is non-finite verbs or gerunds, so it cannot stand alone. The second is the sentences where to be is the main verb. So you can identify the kind of tenses when you look at the to be. For example, they are my friends. Are is to be. Are shows the present tense. So the main the kind of tenses is present tense. And 3. Future tense. This is doesn't have any specific future tense. They could be like she will go. So the main verb are you can identify or you can say it is future tense is from the will or she's about to go, about to, she's going to, and the last is from the perfect aspect. She has walked to school. Has. She has walked to school. So has shows the present tense. So this is the main verb and walked is the past tense. So beside all the main verbs that I have explained to you, they are just complement in a verb phrases. Advanced construction using verb phrases. Passive voice, progressive aspect, and perfect aspect. First one, passive voice. In a passive voice, it uses auxiliary be and past participle. For example, the book was written. The book was written. Was is the auxiliary and written is the past participle. And the second is progressive aspect. It shows ongoing actions using be plus present participle. For example, she is running. Is the auxiliary and running is the present continuous. Third is perfect aspect. It shows completion using have plus a past participle. For example, they have eaten. Have is the auxiliary and eaten is the past participle.
Verb phrase hierarchies. Verb phrase in English follow a fixed hierarchy when it comes to arrange auxiliary verbs. This order is essential for clarity and grammatical correctness, especially in complex sentences. The hierarchy is as follows: modal, perfect, progressive, passive, and the last one is lexical verbs. Modal like can, might, or should come first, and perfect from use have, followed by a past participle showing that the action is complete. Progressive from use be plus the present participle indicating ongoing action. Passive construction also use be, but here it's followed by a past participle, showing that the subject is receiving the action. Finally, the lexical verb. The main action word come last. The example sentence is: she might have been being helped. Might is the modal auxiliary expressing possibility. Have create the perfect aspect suggesting the action occurrence before another time. Been with being indicates the progressive and passive aspect, showing the action was ongoing and done to the subject. Two sentences like this are rare in everyday speech. Understanding this structure is crucial for mastering English grammar. Modifier in verb phrase. Modifiers, often in the form of adverse bias, can appear within verb phrase to provide additional information about the action. This modifier describe aspects like time, frequency, manner, or degree. Importantly, this modifier they usually fit between auxiliary verb or before the lexical verb. First, let's look at the example of modifiers between auxiliary verbs. He has always been working hard. Here's always, it's the adverbial modifier, showing frequency, and it comes between has and been. Has is for perfect auxiliary and been for progressive auxiliary. Let's see the example of modifier before the lexical verbs. She will definitely finish her project. The modifier definitely emphasizes centrally and appears right before the lexical verb finish. Modifiers are flexible tools that add richness and precision to sentences. For example, they might quickly have completed the task. The modifier quickly specifies the manner of the action and fits neatly after the modal might, but before have complete. When using modifier, it's important to place them carefully to avoid ambiguity. For instance, he has been regularly attending meetings. the adverb regularly fits seamlessly into the verb phrase, engaging the sentence without disrupting its grammatical structure. By understanding verb phrase, the learners can create clearly and more dynamic sentences. This insight not only improves grammar but also adds depth and nuance to communication.
After understanding the theory about the verb phrase, now we will learn verb phrase through visualization using a syntax tree. This tree is very useful to help us understand how the elements of verb phrase are hierarchically arranged. The tree makes it possible for us to see the connection between the element more clearly. Let's start with some example. Example 1. Identification of verb phrase element. We have she is reading a book. This sentence is a very example that illustrates the connection between a subject and a verb phrase. In this sentence, she is the subject and is reading a book is a verb phrase that functions as a predicate. Here, the syntax tree helps us understand how these elements are connected hierarchically. As a sentence. The top level of the tree is S, which indicates the overall structure of the sentence. This sentence consists of two main parts. The subject C and the verb phrase is reading a book. NP, noun phrase, subject. C is the subject of the sentence as the door of the action. C is the essential element that initiates the action in the verb phrase in syntax. The subject is always on the left branch of the S level. Verb phrase or VP. VP is the main component that serves as the predicate in the sentence. All the elements related to the action or process in the sentence are in the VP. Within this VP, there are branches that show the structure of the main action. First is auxiliary verb. The auxiliary verb is on the left branch of the tree. This auxiliary shows the progressive aspect, which means the action of reading is taking place right now. It is also help determine the tense, presence. Lexical verb or feed. The main verb reading is the core action in the sentence. It describes what the subject is doing. Next is noun phrase. On the right branch of the tree, we find the NP, a book. This is the direct object of the action reading. This object provides additional information about what the subject is reading. This syntax tree breaks down the sentence into a small element and shows the connection between the elements. In this way, we can understand that auxiliary is supports the main verb reading, while the NP, a book, provides additional context. And next is example number 2, verb classification with a syntax tree. We have he gave her a gift. Verb types, the transitive verb. In this sentence, we see an example of the transitive verb, which is a verb that requires two objects to complete its meaning. The subject, he, is the subject of the action, while gave her a gift is a verb phrase that describes the action and who is involved. Let's break this sentence structure into a syntax tree. S. Sentence, the highest level S, which encompasses the entire sentence. This sentence structure consists of subject he on the left branch and verb phrase give or give on the right branch. LP noun phrase as a subject. He is the subject that performs the action in the sentence as the first element in the sentence. The subject determines who is the main focus of the action. And next is VP for phrase. Just like before, the VP is the core of the action in this sentence. The main branch of the VP consists of the main verb give and the two objects that complete the meaning of the actions. Lexical verb V, give, is the main verb that describes the action of giving. The verbs determine the structure of the VP as it requires a two object to complete its meaning. Indirect object in P, the left branch after the main verb is the indirect object her. This object describes to whom the gift is given. Direct object and P. The right branch in the direct object a gift. This object describes what the subject is giving. The transitive verb like give, her, the true branch then function as complement, one indirect object and one direct object. Through this tree, we can see how the meaning of this act of giving is shaped by involving two additional entities. And the last example, verb phrase with auxiliary. We have, they might have been studying hard. This sentence is an example of a complex verb phrase. The subject, they, initiates the action, while the verb phrase describes detail about the mood, aspect, tense, and the way the action is performed. Let's see how the syntax tree illustrates this connection. S. Sentence. S is the top level that represents the whole sentence. And V, noun phrase or subject. They is the subject that perform the action. And the next is modal auxiliary. Might is a modal auxiliary that shows the mood of possibility. The modal is always at the top position in the verb phrase hierarchy. Next is perfect auxiliary. Have is an auxiliary verb that shows the perfect aspect, indicating the action has already happened at a certain time. And the next is progressive auxiliary. Been show the progressive aspect, which describes that the action is taking place. And the next is lexical verb as V. Studying is the main verb that describes what the subject is doing. And the last is adverb. Hard is a modifier that provides additional information about how the action is performed. So, through this tree, show how the elements of a verb phrase are organized hierarchically. By breaking it down into smaller parts, we can understand how its auxiliary affect the meaning of the whole sentence. To conclude, let us reflect on the importance of understanding verb phrase. Verb phrase is the foundation of English grammar. By mastering this structure, we can not only understand how the language works more deeply, but also improve our ability to communicate in English significantly. So, thank you for watching this video until the end. We hope you find the material useful, both in your studies and daily life. Feel free to come back to this video if you need guidance. See you in the next lesson and keep up the good work.